So welcome guys to another session. Today I have the pleasure to talk about sacred sexuality, the connection between sexuality and healing. And I want to create a safe space for all of you to be able to explore this with me. I am aware that this is a very delicate topic. I am aware that this can be very triggering. I am aware that we are all conditioned in many different ways about what it means to talk about sex, to talk about self-pleasuring, to talk about masturbation, to talk about all these things that we all do, we all feel. It's a part of our lives in all of us. There is, I don't know, a human being that doesn't have a relationship with sexual energy. If you know, let me know. But I'm not aware yet. And yet it's a topic that we don't really, in my life, I didn't have the opportunity to talk about a lot until later in my life. It's not something that I was taught when I was little. It's not something that was natural. It's not something that I was introduced to with guidance. And yeah, that creates a lot of tension, emotions, fears, trauma, discomfort, confusion, and many other words. And I would like to just create a safe space for us to explore this, to be curious about it. Okay? So let me just read the chats. I have a little practice before we start the conversation. If anyone can manage this, you can, Emilio. Thank you, Peta. I can see providing a trigger warning, but wish it was more acceptable to discuss. 100% Laura, I agree with you. Rick says, I just joined the platform, but it's just nature, nothing to be embarrassed about. I love that, Rick. Thank you for saying that. It's just nature. It's nothing. Yeah. It's nothing to be embarrassed about. But yet many of us are afraid, embarrassed. And there are many connecting things that I want to talk about in this chat, and let's see where this goes. But thank you so much, guys, for being here. Before we get started, I want to do two things, if you guys are okay. First, I want to play my singing bowl a couple times, and I want all of us to take a couple of deep breaths. Okay, I want you all to land into the space. I want you guys all to connect with your body, with how you are feeling, with the reason why you felt inspired to be here. I want you to connect with all those things while you take a couple of deep breaths with me. Okay? Are you guys ready? Hi Chelsea, hi Lorette. We are all sexual beings. Yeah, Chelsea, so true. Okay, so let's just take a couple of deep breaths together and let's just land here to this session, okay? One more breath. And just connect with how you feel right now. And the next thing that I would like to do, if you guys are okay with it, I have some smudge, okay? And I would like to smudge a little bit. Smudging is something that I learned recently in the last few years in my life, and I really like it. It's a ceremony where smudge is made of plant medicine, like it has sage, it has different herbs, and I would like to just burn a little bit and create a little bit of smoke, and that acts as a cleansing of the energy. Okay, so I would like to do that to symbolize that we are entering what can be an emotional space, and I want to sorry, I'm very emotional. I want to honor it. I want to make it sacred. I want to be with you in whatever you are at. Some of you may not even participate. Some of you may have a really positive relationship with this topic. And I just want to honor all of those experiences, no matter where you are, no matter how you feel. You're not alone, okay? Okay. So thank you for doing that with me. Yeah, so it took a lot of courage for me to do this, and I want to honor myself for that. And I want to know how you guys feel. I want to know what's present with you. Ginger says sexuality is a huge source of power and energy and spiritual connection. Absolutely, Ginger. 100% agree with you. It's the most powerful energy in the universe. It's the energy that can create life. It's the energy that fuels everything that we do. So it's a really powerful energy. That's why it's so important to make it sacred. That's why it's so important to understand how to use it, how to nurture it. And when we don't do that, the energy is going to still be there. And if we don't know how to use it, how to channel it, how to transmute it, how to move it, it's going to be blocked. It's gonna go somewhere. Energy doesn't disappear. Energy just keeps changing, right? Keeps evolving, keeps transforming, but it never disappears. So it's important to understand that. And I'm a father right now. I'm a father of a 6-year-old girl. And we were having this conversation, Samantha and I, the other day, like, how are we going to introduce this topic to our daughter, Eva? How are we going to do it in a way that is empowering, in a way that is natural, in a way that is not shaming, in a way that we also help her protect herself, help her honor her boundaries? And we reflected about our own experiences, right? On how was it that for us? How were we introduced to sexuality? How were we introduced to this energy that we feel, this pleasure that we feel, and no one talks about, right? At least in my life, no one talked about it. No one really told me how to do that, or that it was okay, or luckily I also wasn't shamed about that, but I know that some people are shamed. But some parents knew better, some parents didn't bring the topic because it was uncomfortable for themselves too. So I'm just curious to know what can you remember about you being little, you growing up, and you being exposed to this energy. And I'm curious to know how that experience was for you. A little apprehensive but very curious and grateful. Thank you, Peta. I felt so much frustration around how society and even healing spaces suppress this kind of aliveness. Grateful this conversation is happening. Yeah, Ginger, I am with you. It is time. It is time to normalize this. It is time to get out of the closet. It is time to accept, to celebrate what that means for each of us. And it doesn't have to be the same for each of us. It's time to be curious and respectful, and make this sacred. Becca says this topic takes practice. To be open to multiple sources of info makes it easier for me. Yeah, this topic, Becca, this topic takes practice, absolutely. In my experience, I was not introduced to sacred sexuality until a few years ago. I didn't even know what that was. I didn't even know what that meant. I always thought about the Kama Sutra, about just some physical positions that you put yourself into with a partner, but that's it. That's how much of the extent of my knowledge, and many of my circle around me, because if they knew, I would have known too. So yeah, it takes practice to even being open to exploring this, especially if you feel that it's not natural, it's not spoken around normally, right? It's something that for some reason is not something that everybody talks about it. And it takes practice. I 100% agree with you, Becca. It takes practice. Yeah. I remember hiding masturbation as a small child, and there being lots of shame, but never having been shamed by my parents. So it's a mystery where the shame came from. Chelsea, I hear you. And we are touching generational trauma here. We are touching what's called epigenetics. And I believe, at least with my experience, I feel the same way as you. In many areas of healing, I feel this way with sexuality, I feel this way with finances. For example, it's like I never had a lack. So why am I feeling this fear about not having enough money, for example? Where is that coming from? Same with sexuality. I don't remember my parents shaming me. I also don't remember them having completely 100% clear conversations about what that was about, how to do it, etc. Right? But it wasn't also a taboo topic. So where is this coming from? And I believe that it is generational trauma. It is coming from past generations. And we have the opportunity now to do something about it, to heal some of these parts for ourselves, but the most important piece for future generations to come, for them to have a different experience, hopefully more natural, more connected, more grounded. So yeah, I feel a tremendous responsibility to do this work, to normalize this with myself, with my circle around me, so that I can show up to my daughter in a different way. I don't want to repeat the same story. I don't want to avoid. I don't want her to be confused. I want her to have all the information, all the empowerment, all the support. And then she can decide what she wants to do with it. But I don't want her to have the same experience I had. So yeah, it's really powerful and it's a very meaningful topic. I was raised to believe that my sacral energy was wrong, even dangerous, but I know that now it's sacred. I recognize grief around that. Yeah, Ginger, I hear you. It's so sacred. My parents bought a set of books called The Book of Life. Yeah, I read volume 1 on the menstrual cycle, and the rest were locked in the safe and never came out. I went to religious school and we got a new youth pastor who said he will give a class on this, and we will discuss masturbation. And I asked my friend what it was, and she said, if you don't know what it is, I am not going to be the one to tell you. And somehow the classes were cancelled, and I have no idea. Yeah, so that's a very clear experience of you not knowing, something being hidden from you, and then someone else saying, I'm not going to be the person who is going to guide you through that. So I'm just curious to learn, what did you learn in that experience about yourself? Because what I learned is that, yeah, there is something wrong with me. I'm doing something wrong, or there is something wrong that I'm doing that it's making people uncomfortable, and it is my fault. So I better don't do this. I better don't talk about this. I better avoid this, because this is not, when I do this, I don't receive love. I am treated differently. I am not accepted. And as a little boy, we don't have so many tools. We don't have so much, we don't have many options. We have to just follow suit. So I hear you, and I can imagine how traumatizing that was for you. Uh, yeah, so the subject was taboo in my home. Growing up, my parents would even blame women for getting assaulted because they were out shining just being at a club. Oh, just sinning, like a sin. Yeah, sinning. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, what does that mean? What does sinning mean? What is the meaning of a sin, right? And that's gonna be something different for each of us. And that's when, again, this is a very delicate topic because we all come from different cultures, different religions, different belief systems. And I don't think there is a right or wrong approach here. I think we all have to be curious about this. And being curious and being respectful, and don't go to the extremes, and don't judge, and be able to call your boundaries, and be able to say what you're comfortable with and what you are not comfortable with. There are so many things that need to happen, right? Safety. Safety is a big word around this topic. What does safety mean to you around sexuality? Yeah, my parents never addressed it, David. Yeah, it's a very typical story. Yeah. Sylvia says, there was so much confusion for me growing up in an evangelical home where there were people respected in our religion who were sexually inappropriate with me. Yeah, so just imagine, Sylvia, and I'm sorry to hear that, but just imagine the confusion in your head about receiving information, intellectually speaking, but then receiving a different physical treatment that doesn't match that. And how, yeah, I just can't imagine what that must feel like. American social mores and media are still more puritanical and sexy than in many countries, sending mixed messages that confuse and shame both men and women. Yeah, Marjorie, so true. I went to the library to look it up in the days before internet, and there was nothing in the card catalog, so I didn't find out for many. Yeah, exactly. There is nothing about it, right? You couldn't find information about it. I had no direction at all growing up. I discovered sex all on my own, and it eventually became a way to cope and to escape. Yeah, David, brother, same here. I discovered it by myself. My friends were talking about it. Some of them were already watching porn. I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't know how they watched that because there was no internet at that time. Some had these magazines with naked people on them, and I didn't really understand that that was pleasurable. It's like, oh, why is that pleasurable? And then as I grew up, I guess my hormones kicked in, and then I discovered that pleasure, and then, but it was all on my own. I didn't have guidance. No one really told me this is what's gonna happen. This is what you are going to experience. This is what you can do with it. You can breathe it in. You can expand it in your body. You can share that with a person that is special with you, with boundaries. You can create safety. You can nothing, none of that, right? So, yeah, it's so powerful. Yeah, became a way to cope and escape. Yeah, emotional self-regulation and self-pleasuring is for me, it has been a way out, right? It's a very nice way to release, because we're releasing that energy that, so just think about that. So I'm a man, I have a lot of energy in me, right? So if I don't know what to do with that energy, and I am not consciously moving it, consciously using it, consciously like expanding it, it just gets stuck in my genitals, and it has to explode somehow. And this is, I think, is more accentuated with men than with women. And I would like to know what your experience is, if you're willing to share, both men and women. But I am learning how important it is for us men to to don't condense all that energy just in the genitals, to expand it, to use our breathing to move it up, to circulate it. And you can circulate that with another person, with your partner, right? And then you can circulate that energy through your partner, through you, and then it can become a sacred union. But you can do it also with yourself. And then we can enter the arena of non-ejaculatory masturbation for men, for example, and what that means and why that is important. We can also tout on yeah, Peta, you say, oh wow, my comment was removed, so I was being careful and considered. Yeah, Peta, I know, depending what words you use, I think it's not inside timer, it's just an automatic triggering system that they may have, that all platforms have, that when you use specific words, it red flags it, and then it's going to remove it automatically, just in case. Even though that Inside Timer promotes talking about sacred sexuality and using sexuality for healing, there is still keywords that are gonna be red flagged in the system, and it's gonna be difficult to remove them, to use them. But yeah, I have noticed that in Spain people are less ashamed of their bodies than the US. Patrick, I have to say that that is true. I have to say that in Spain, you go to a beach, for example, and nudity is more usual. Women with their breasts out is more usual. And I noticed that there is a lot of, you won't see that happening here in Canada, neither in the US. And it's you have to go to very specific places to find a nude beach. And it's not the norm. It's not something that people will do. I remember going to the beach with my parents, with friends, and I remember all the women, majority of them topless, because they wanted to get sunshine, and to me that was normal and natural. But I realized that it is not the same here. And again, this is an example of how you just learn from your environment, right? So for me, that was natural and normal. So if I go to a beach and I saw someone naked, it doesn't traumatize me, right? That is not something that makes me feel anything strongly, right? It's just natural. It's just, I've seen it all my life. It's not, I can get naked and I'm okay with that too. But I know that some people don't feel that way. I know that some people get triggered. Maybe they had a bad experience. Maybe they had some trauma. Maybe that's why being respectful and asking for what you need and creating safety is important. But sometimes it becomes so protected that what's natural becomes unnatural. And that is what I think we're going to the extreme of. If someone is triggered because they are seeing someone's legs, everybody has to cover their legs, for example. And it's like, yeah, but it's not the same experience for everybody. And we all have legs, so why do we need to cover our legs? This is one example, right? That same happens with any part of our bodies that I don't want to use the specific names for, just in case. But yeah, it's I think it's sad how parents may shield their children from the sight of public nudity. Yeah, Chelsea, that's another thing. It starts when you were little, right? And right now, I am experiencing that with Eva. Like, if it was for me, I don't care if she's naked. We are in the beach. If you want to be naked, just be naked and go into the water. It's less work, right? Less clothes to dry. It's just easier. And then you are getting a tan everywhere. And then when you want to cover yourself up. So I also grew up in Spain and all the children were naked. Children didn't wear bathing suits. So it wasn't a thing. But now it's like nudity in general is so taboo, it's not appropriate. And I sense that when Eva is naked, sometimes getting changed, I notice that people around gets uncomfortable. So I ask Eva to don't be naked in front of people. And I try to explain to her, there is nothing wrong with you. I don't mind that you are naked, but there are other people that don't like seeing people naked. And I don't know if I am doing it right or not. I don't know how to really approach it sometimes, because I don't care. And if someone cares, they can come and say, hey, sorry, I care about your daughter being naked, so can you please ask her? And then I will say, you do it because I have no problem with it. And then they need to ask for what they need. And I think that that's a really powerful exercise. But I am aware also of if someone is feeling triggered emotionally because of a past experience, I also understand that. That's why it's very difficult for me sometimes to know what the right approach is. So what can I do in this situation so that I don't shame Eva, so that I don't limit her, so that I empower her, and also at the same time I am respectful to others and I don't trigger other people unnecessarily. So it's very difficult sometimes to do that, and that's why I wanted to have a conversation so that I can get curious and see what you guys think, what your experience was, maybe different ways that you approach this situation for other parents here. So let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Wow, so much engagement. Basically, I said I was okay. Sorry, like every time there is a new comment, the chat goes all the way up, so I lose the comments. Sounds like you handled it really well with Eva. Thank you, Marjorie. The fear of nudity is so insidious. It teaches us to feel shame for simply having a body. I am grieving how deep that goes. Yeah, Ginger, is. I agree with you. It's just so. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. There is a lot to unpack here. I'm curious to know, guys, because today I wanted to talk about sexuality in general. I wanted to tie sexuality with healing, and I would like to know, what is your experience about sacred sexuality? What does that mean to you? Have you noticed that using sexuality has helped you access trauma, heal things, discover new things in your life that maybe you didn't understand? And I'm happy to share my own experience, but I'm curious to know what you guys, and I am gonna try and catch up with the chat if I can. While many people are uncomfortable themselves, I feel like most of the negative responses are around dimming people's lights. There is an idea that only certain beautiful, sexy people are allowed to show more skin. Yeah, Sylvia, that's also true. Like, listen, I traveled around the world for a few years, and I went from countries where people will pay money to get tan. They will go to the machines to get tan. They will go to the beach almost naked or fully naked to get tan, because the color of your skin when it's dark, it's more beautiful. And I have gone to countries where people pay money to get creams that they put in their faces so that they can be more white. So as you can understand how confusing that must be for a child, for example, seeing both sides, right? I have seen people completely covered because being dark or darker, it's not something that they want to, because that represents that they are low caste, that represents that they work in the countryside, that represents that they have less status, that is seen as less beautiful. And other countries is the opposite. Other countries is completely the opposite. So yeah, it's so interesting how there is not a right or wrong approach here, but it's what the person believes, it's what we believe about ourselves. That's why I feel having conversations and getting curious is going to allow this information to unfold. And when people have all the information, they are going to start making more empowering decisions. They are going to be less, as someone said, less dimmed, less limited, less conditioned. And they're going to be able to be more themselves with more confidence. So yeah, very interesting. So David says, I relate to a number of comments. I didn't suffer much shame, so was relatively free to explore sexuality in a relative safe way. I became a part-time nudist and help others to appreciate the beauty. Yeah. And I lost your comment. Sorry, David. Amazing. Yeah. So I have to say, I was really happy to see, and I can't remember the name, but I did see a show on Netflix, I believe it was. I can't remember the name of the show, But I remember how beautiful it was that it was this woman that was helping other people, and then one of the exercises that that woman will do is she will have a mirror, she will get completely naked with the person that she was helping, and they will both be completely naked looking at the mirror, and they will just look at themselves naked. And just that exercise was so powerful for so many people because they didn't feel comfortable doing that. They didn't feel comfortable in their own skin. So don't get to see that very often but in the media, but I remember that. And can you scroll up and see the rest of the comment, David? Yeah, if you guys want to pause the comments for a second so that I don't lose them, I can try and read them. Let me see. Yeah, so parents get inside that their teenage son avoids pregnancy to the point that the son avoids becoming a father even when he earns financial independence. Yeah, Becca. Marjorie says local bans and social disapproval against breastfeeding preclude even non-sexual nudity. Yeah, Marjorie, like how, yeah, it's like that's an example for me. This is my judgment, okay, and my opinion. That's something that is natural, beautiful to be celebrated. That is a woman breastfeeding her baby. I can't imagine of something more beautiful than that. And for some people, that's offensive. And I just can't understand how that's possible. But I understand that there are reasons why some people may feel that way. So it becomes the work of how can we prevent that from happening, how can we protect everybody, how can we be inclusive, and how can we include people who are comfortable seeing that and people who don't want to see that. And then I don't know what the right answer is there. I don't know how to make that. I feel that whatever you choose, you're gonna always have happy and unhappy people. So it's very difficult. It's a very difficult subject. I fed my babies anyway. If I need to feed my baby, I'm feeding my baby. Yeah, CG, I honor your motherhood empowerment to be able to do that no matter what. I honor you for doing that. I was topless around the house on hot days when kids were small, so they don't feel shame for the body, and it was cooler. Yeah, amazing. Thank you for doing that. Yeah, if friends or a contractor came, obviously I got dressed. Yeah, I'm not going into a bathroom to feed my infant. Do other people eat in the bathroom? Yeah, why should an infant? Yeah, that's so true. Like, why do you need to go and hide something that is so beautiful? So yeah, someone is talking about tantra. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I can. Yeah, so sorry, guys. If you want me to read something, you have to write it again because I just keep losing them, and I can't keep up. Every time you guys write something, the chat goes all the way to the bottom. But yeah, so I would like to connect sexuality with healing, okay? And I would like to really make this very clear from my own experience, and you guys can share. Yeah, I relate to your comment about pent-up sexual energy and needing a place to put it. I'm seeking a way now to redirect that energy to bolster other parts of me. Yeah, David, there are processes that you can follow, and there are ways for you to don't use masturbation as an escape, to bring more intention into it. And this also applies to women, I guess, but I think that men have a tendency to need to move that energy more often, I think. But yeah, it's all about intention. It's all about mindfulness when it comes to that. I did a challenge of for 21 days. I didn't masturbate. I didn't ejaculate. Okay, and then you have to do that challenge, and then you do that for 9 or 10 days, and then after that you start self pleasuring, but you don't ejaculate. And the idea is for you to start getting comfortable with moving that energy, with getting in touch with that energy without having to collapse into it, without having to completely lose yourself in it and then do something that you don't want to do. And there is nothing wrong about ejaculating, okay, for example, but there is something about you being able to be mindful to decide. There is something about you being able to be mindful about how do I want to self-pleasure? When do I want to do it? Why am I doing it right now? Right? What is the intention of me self-pleasuring right now? And many times when I did this challenge, I was always, when I had an urge, when I wanted to do what I have always done, I always, why am I doing this? Okay, I'm doing this because it's an emotional self-regulation technique. I just want to release steam because I'm agitated. I just want to feel complete at something, or I just want to feel something different, and that it's pleasurable. So, and again, when you do it with intention, you start recognizing the reasons why you are doing it. And if you are doing it with mindfulness and you are choosing what you are doing, it's not impulsive, it's not reactive. You are not using it to avoid, or at least you are becoming aware of why you do it, even though you are doing it. So this is a slow process. And it's important for you to recognize, for any of you who is in the journey of curiosity, discovering what this is. And some people are going to be way ahead of you or me. Some people are going to be way behind you or me. We are all on our journey, unique journey, perfect journey. You are where you are supposed to be. You are learning what you need to learn, and you are choosing the things that are inspiring to you now, that motivates you, that you resonate with. I have friends that when I bring this topic, when I was doing this challenge of 21 days and I was talking to them about, oh, I'm learning about sacred sexuality, I'm really trying to break this addiction to masturbation just because I really want to make it sacred. I want to explore it in a way that feels more appealing to me, that has more meaning. Some people were super open and super excited and interested and curious. Some people didn't even, the idea of changing what they were doing didn't even resonate with them. So it's okay. Like, everybody's on their own journey, and I think that celebrating each other and what we want, that is the most important piece. Always, if we are doing what we are doing from a place of centeredness, from a place of being grounded, from a place of intention, and from a place of empowerment. So what happens too is that when I was doing this challenge and I was sharing it, some people will get triggered, because some people will, deep down, a part of themselves would like to do that, and another part of themselves maybe feel, I am not strong enough to do that. It took me a while to be able to wrap my head around doing that, and I was finding excuses not to do it. And that's not necessary. I don't need to do that. Why? I can manage without this. But when you do anything in life that you are called to, when you do it and you actually discipline yourself in following through and experiencing what it feels like, doing something different, I think there is a lot of power on that. And again, you can choose whatever you want. You don't have to choose that. You can choose whatever you want to explore in whatever way you want to explore it. But make sure that it comes from your true self, not from a part of you that is afraid, not from a part of you that is reactive and wants to escape, not from a part of you that is feeling shame and not good enough. And this connects with you engaging intimately with another person, right? When you engage intimately with another person, especially if it's a romantic sexual connection with another person, that is one of the most vulnerable places where you can be. You are basically allowing another person to witness all of you, physically, emotionally, and that can be amazing for some people, and that can be like petrifying for some other people. And again, there is no right or wrong here. It's all about curiosity. It's all about, where am I right now? Where do I want to be? Am I called to try something different? And then when you can allow yourself to go a little bit deeper into these connections, if they are safe, of course, okay? If they are safe, if they are consensual, then you can discover edges that maybe you didn't know they were there. And these emotional edges that you may find, these blockages, this resistance, this discomfort that you may, these emotional shutdowns, all of the things that you will discover there, you can use that as information to do some work about it, to understand, why am I feeling this way? Why am I experiencing this blockage here? Why am I shutting down? Or why am I just mindlessly doing this? And then that can serve you as an entry point to be able to heal something that if you were alone, maybe you wouldn't see. Because there is so much work that you can do with yourself. But let me tell you, when you have a partner that is gonna see all of you, that parts of you that you don't see yourself, they're gonna see everything from you. They're gonna be dynamics forming, they're gonna be like an exchange of energy, they're gonna trigger things in you that you may not even know they were there, and you're gonna feel agitated. That's where the real work comes in, right? That's where the real opportunities for healing come in. But you have to take them at a pace that feels good to you and that you can handle, so that you don't shut down. Becca says, would you say each person's sexual release is their own responsibility, whether partner or not? Becca, that is an amazing question. And wow, that is such an amazing question. Thank you for bringing it up. Just gonna try and say this the best I can with what I know right now. And this may change tomorrow, okay? But right now, where I'm sitting at, where I am learning, what I have experienced, no one is responsible to please you, okay? It's no one else's responsibility to please you sexually. You are the one responsible to please yourself. And if you cannot do that, you cannot ask someone else to do it for you. So if I can't give myself what I need, how can I go to someone else and demand that they do it for me? When most likely I don't even know what I want. I don't even know what I need. I didn't take the time to explore that with myself. And I'm not saying that when you are with someone else that you can do other things that you cannot do alone. That is true, and that is the beauty of having a partner and being able to go to that sacredness when it comes to sex. Two people that don't need each other, two people that are fulfilled by themselves, decide intentionally to merge together. And then they create an experience that they will not be able to create alone. But that experience is not one part going to the other partner and say, you have to do this so that I can be pleased. So when you enter that sacred union, to call it a specific way, ideally you will enter that without an agenda. You will enter that without needing anything. You will enter that because you want to. Because you want to. Not because you have to. Not because you want to get something out of it. And you are going to receive a lot, and you are going to give a lot, but you have to let go. You have to enter without. And guys, I cannot do that right now. I'm having a hard time with my partner doing that. It's not flowing. It's not easy. It's a lot of shit coming up, and I don't know what to do with it sometimes. And it ripples in every area of my life. And that's why part of me didn't want to show up for this discussion, because I feel shame, because I feel, who am I to talk about this when I'm suffering all these things in my life, right? when I'm seeing all these things that I don't like. But I'm showing up because we are all on our own journey, because we all have different things that we need to get through, that we need to learn from, that we need to experience. And my experience for some people will be amazing, and for some people will be irrelevant. And it doesn't matter. Comparing is not helpful. We are all doing something different. But yeah, that's what I believe. It's not sacred union. If someone is entering a relationship wanting something or demanding something or taking something, that is not sacred. And I show up like that many times still now. I will show up with an agenda. I will show up wanting something. I will build resentment because I'm not getting what I want. And then part of me doesn't even ask for what I want because part of me doesn't feel that I'm worthy. So part of me feels, who am I to ask for this? Part of me feels, that's disgusting, or that's, how am I going to ask for this? I just make the assumption that it's not good. It's not going to be well received. She will never want to do this to me. I'm not worthy of that. So if I cannot be worthy of that, if I cannot feel that I deserve that, if I cannot express it without feeling collapsed, how can I expect that she's going to give that to me, that my partner is going to give to me what I want, if I can't even receive it? So just think about it. It's so important. And this is why sacred sexuality, this is why this topic is so connected with healing. Because guys, if I can't ask for what I want, there is a blockage. Not one, there are many blockages there that I have to work through, that I have to become aware of. It is not my partner's responsibility to do that work for me. She can help me, of course. She can support me, of course. But she's not responsible for my well-being. She's not responsible to give me anything so that I can feel well. And if that's the case, it's not a healthy relationship. There is a dynamic happening that I want to break. And I want to break many dynamics that are happening in my life right now, because I no longer like them. But there is a lot of inertia. There is a lot of momentum that is happening. There are lots of stories that keep repeating. And I allow those stories, I allow that momentum to guide me instead of me guiding myself with this new awareness and this new intention. And that is my work, to show up differently. It is not my partner's work. So I don't know if I answered your question, Becca. I hope I did. We can receive even if we can't give, can't ask and don't know. Catherine, I don't think that's true. I don't think so many people, they cannot receive. They don't let themselves receive. Sometimes I want to give someone something. Sometimes I want to support someone. Right now we are doing an exchange, and Samantha and I, we are giving them our support. We are giving them emotional space. We are giving them systems. We are organizing spaces with their guidance, and many times they have a hard time receiving. I have a hard time receiving many times. And if I cannot receive, I can have 1,000 people trying to give to me, but if I don't let that in, I will not receive it. I have a hard time receiving praise from people, and I am learning how to, when someone says something nice about me, I pause, I try to breathe, and I try to say, thank you, I received that. Because you know what I do? Oh, it's not a big deal. Oh yeah, I change topics, and that is me feeling uncomfortable receiving. So it's tricky. Yes, answer beautifully, Emilio. The conditioning we have received as children can carry lifelong damage if we are not proactive in our own decisions to heal. Yeah, Becca, we are all trying to do the best that we can, okay? We are all trying to do the best. Sometimes we make choices of healing and changing. Sometimes our choice may be not to do that. And I am no one to force someone else to do something that they don't want to do. I am no one to tell someone else what they have to do. But I am someone who can say yes or no to a dynamic. I am someone who can say yes or no to entering a sacred container or not, engaging in a relationship or not, accepting something or not. So I have that power, but I am no one to say, hey, you have to do this, hey, you have to let me do that, hey, you have to give me this, or you have to do your own work, I'm not responsible for that. That is something that I cannot do. They have to do it by themselves, right? Ginger says, I have a hard time receiving praise sometimes, like I feel that is patronizing. Yeah, Ginger, that is an example of there is a blockage there for you to be able to receive, right? Sometimes people believe that when someone is praising them, they actually don't mean it. They actually are thinking the opposite, and they will live with that story in their minds. And it's like the idea of actually believing that that's true about themselves is just not sinking in. And I have done a lot of men's work, and I have seen a lot of brothers, and myself included, doing things and noticing, wow, like I'm just not letting this in. I just don't want to. I just feel I don't deserve it. I just feel that this is wrong, and my nervous system is collapsing. So it's not an intentional choice. It's just my nervous system is just doing something because of a past experience, because of what I learned, because of the story that I created, or the meaning that I give to those words. Yeah. So yeah, and let me see if I can see some of the comments. Yeah, and you say, Catherine said, I mean, it's morally allowed to receive. It is morally allowed to receive. Yeah, of course, guys. Receiving, it's wonderful. I'm not saying don't receive, right? I'm saying that when you enter a sacred union, when you enter this sacred sexuality with another person, and you enter without needing anything, you enter without demanding, you enter from a state of mindfulness, non-reactivity, you have no agenda, you are in the present moment, and you are present with what's happening. Sometimes what's happening is the other person starts crying, and they lose their shit because maybe they are yeah, something is coming up for me. Maybe they are being witnessed in a way that they have never been before. And when you experience that, it's just too intense to receive it. Like I remember that, right? Sometimes when I have someone in my men's work, like what's happening now, sometimes they are giving me so much, they are so present. Like there are like 8 men around me doing something just for me. And I'm like this. I'm just bawling. And I don't wanna be seen. I'm like this. And then one brother says, Emilio, take your hands off your face. And I'm like this. I don't want to. Emilio, open your eyes. I don't want to. Open your eyes. And I start looking at everybody's there for me. 8 men looking at me with love, giving. And I just have a hard time receiving it. It's just it's just too much energy. I'm not used to this. So, but you start doing it, and then it becomes more manageable and more manageable and more manageable until I can open my eyes and I can make eye contact with every single man, and I can hold and I can give it to me. I'm ready. I want it. I deserve it. You want to give it to me and I want to receive it. What's wrong with that? Give it to me. I can suck everything you have, please. So that's beautiful, and that's a dynamic that can happen in many different ways. But it's very different than when it is forced. It's very different than when it is non-consensual. It is very different when one of the people is triggered or is emotionally aroused or is not grounded. So the interaction becomes unsafe. The interaction becomes not sacred anymore. And it is normal to go from being triggered to being emotional, self-regulating, and then you enter the sacredness, especially with someone else. You're in a good place, you are great, and then something comes up. And one of you will feel, holy shit, what is this? I'm feeling unsafe, or I don't know what's happening, I am feeling uncomfortable, and then that is an edge. That is a healing opportunity for you to ask for what you need, to be witnessed, for your partner to be able to hold the space, for your partner to be able to be there with you without having to fix you. So it is very deep, and it can go really deep. And this is the power of sacred sexuality. And when I talk about sacred sexuality, it doesn't mean having sex the way we have seen on the movies, right? It can be sexual energy exchange, that you are not even touching your partner, but there is sexual energy being exchanged between you two. There is a flitter. You are flirting with your partner. You are playing games. You are moving energy. You are embodying different archetypes. You are holding space and letting your partner express. And maybe that changes after, and then the other person is holding the space, and then you are expressing. So there are so many beautiful ways in how the arena of sexuality can open so many opportunities for healing. The sacredness, and I feel like that's such, someone has been asking how to achieve the sacredness, and I feel like that's such an important question in this conversation. Sacredness, guys, something sacred is two people, no matter what gender, two people that are aware, two people that regardless of their trauma, they are willing to show up, two people that are choosing to do this, two people that don't need anything to happen, two people that don't have an agenda, two people that are in the present moment. That is sacred. And then you do the union, and that is what sacred union is all about. And then when that sacred container starts to happen, get out of the way. Get out of the way. Don't think, let it happen. Whatever needs to happen is going to happen. You don't have to know. You don't have to fix. You don't have to think what's next. Just be present. Just trust. And when you feel unsafe, speak up. When you don't feel comfortable, share it. When you need to stop, ask for that. Don't go places you don't want to go. Go and get lost when you feel safe. You know what you want, you know when you can let go, and you know when you don't feel safe, and that's okay. It's nothing to do with the other person. Sometimes I take things personally. Sometimes I enter this sacredness with my partner, and maybe something happens, and you know what? The story in my head says, Emilio, you fucked up. Emilio, this is your fault. What haven't you done, or what have you done wrong? What are you not doing that she needs? And then that's the voice inside of me. And then from that place, do you think she's gonna feel safe? Do you think she's gonna trust me? Do you think she's gonna be wanting to go deeper with me if I am in that story? No, of course not. Sometimes I can show up and say, no, that has nothing to do with me. I'm here, baby. Unfold everything you have. I can hold it right now. And I will hold it for her. And I have done that in the past too. But many times, the voice will come. And then that voice will sabotage that sacred union. And it is not a failure. It's an opportunity to, okay, that voice came back again. So I need to do some work about that. I need to look at that differently. I need to do some healing. I can bring this to my friend. I can share this with my partner. Maybe not with my partner. If it happened with her, maybe I bring it to my men's circle. Maybe I bring it to a good friend that can listen to me and can hold it for me. So, yeah. Is there not sacredness within oneself too? Yeah, Becca, the same way that you can have a relationship with another person and make it sacred, you can have a relationship with yourself, and that relationship can be the same way. It can be sacred. You can make it sacred with yourself. You don't need anyone else to make yourself sacred. And you can also be mean, like when I am running these stories, that is not sacredness with me. Like, what sacred is about me talking bad about myself or me running a story that is not true? Because in that present moment, how do I know that I am the reason why she's feeling this way? Why can it be that maybe something else is coming up for her? Why it has to be my responsibility? Why it has to be my fault? It has nothing to do with me, most likely, right? So when I can detach, and this happens the same when you are with yourself, if you can become the observer of your own experience, you can be more grounded. You are less attached to what's happening. You are more self-regulated. And from that place, you can start to recognize those parts of yourself that sometimes show up and want to take the boat because they feel unsafe, because they feel shame, because they feel that you're not doing enough, because it's perfectionist, because... And then you start recognizing them and you start becoming familiar with them and developing a relationship with them. So yeah, it's... Oh, guys, time is up. Sorry that I'm taking a few more minutes. I'm sorry that I couldn't read all your messages because you guys share a lot. I'm really grateful for all of you for creating this container. I'm really grateful for you to be able to be here, to be able to create a new story together for future generations. Right now, 188 people have joined here. Just imagine the ripple effect that we are going to have moving forward. I am sharing about this to all my friends, so all the people around me. I am normalizing this conversation. I am not hiding anymore. Sometimes it's well received, sometimes it's not. And I know when I don't have to share more, but I am not going to not try. And my invitation for you is to do the same. Just try to normalize this conversation. Try to become curious. Try to ask your friends and your family members and the people that you care about, hey, how are you doing? How is your sexual life going? Or I'm learning about this, or I'm doing this exercise, or I went to this live event the other day that was so interesting, or that triggered me so much, and then start creating opportunities for this conversation to happen more often, because you will be impressed in how much people want to talk about these things, but how little containers and opportunities there are to do this, and how much courage it takes to actually be the one to create the opportunity. But if some of you can do that, the ripple effect is gonna keep growing and growing and growing. So I'm really happy that you guys came. I really honor yourself. I honor myself for being here. I honor all of you for the energy that you brought, for all the chat that I couldn't keep up with. It's beautiful to see so much interest in this topic, and thank you for witnessing my emotions. Yeah. Thank you for allowing me to be witness and to be seen in my darkness, in the things I need to work on in my journey. Thank you for seeing my true self and for not living. I hope to see you guys the next week if you can join. It won't be as intense of a topic, but it will be a good one too. Thank you, all of you. Yeah, we are all learning together. Yeah, a sacred sexual release, absolutely. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Let's just end the session with a couple of deep breaths to just a couple of deep breaths. I love you all, guys, too. Thank you, David. Please do this again. I think I will repeat the event another time in the next couple months. Thank you, guys, so much. As always, if you found value in this session, you can always donate. You can donate. I'm gonna share the card. There you go. And you can also follow me on Insight Timer if you didn't follow me, so that you can receive notifications from my lives. And there is a circle that I have that is called Your Thriving Lifestyle that you can join. Okay, so if you want to be in the loop about the live sessions, next topics, or ask questions, you can use that space too. Your Thriving Lifestyle is the circle on Inside Timer. Okay, guys, thank you so much for your support. Thank you so much for your energy. And I hope to see you guys next week. Okay? Adiós.